If you follow me on my Facebook, I joined a group that of my classmates. Yeah, I was typing in Maineville Elementary, and my school popped up, and they created a group. So I clicked to join, and they sent me a questionnaire. When did you go to school? And I typed in August of 1969, 1969 to about 76, 70, I think it's 76. And about a day later, they approved me, and I'm now talking to some of my classmates. And, when you're in grade school, you don't really learn. You do and you don't learn a lot about your teachers or your principal. You learn about them later on in life. Even though you remember them very well, there's still a lot about them that you didn't know. So I'm learning a lot about our principal, Jose Cruse. I think it was Cruze. Jose Jose. I think that's how you pronounce his first name. But now, that is one guy that he's probably the most fearful guy I've, not threatening, but he was the most fearful of all my teachers or principals of any school. From my elementary to my Little Miami, then we moved and I went to Lynchburg Clay, Highland County. And but my elementary days, sometimes people call it grade school. Back in my days, you call it elementary. Now, I didn't like my first grade teacher, Mrs. Thompson. I'm learning more about her. But I'm kind of right now focused on our principal, and why that is. He basically horrified me. From August, the first day I enrolled into first grade, started the school year, 1969, till I left to go to high school, junior high, to about 76. Jose Cruse. Now, I didn't know this part about him. Apparently, during World War II, either his family or he alone was sent, from what they're telling me, was sent from overseas to the United States. Now, I'm trying to remember what I read from my classmates. Now, I don't know if he was born over there or what. Now, I remember his talk. Jose Cruz, he didn't seem German. No. He seemed normal talk. I remember his talk. Well, but one thing that I did not like about him at all, he had this German style about him. He had this stiff walk. I guess he was probably then, I'm going to guess, 45, 50 years old. And, sorry for the car noise. Maybe 45, 50 years old. And he always had a pissed off look on his face. Now, I mean, he'd smile. When he'd wave to you, like you'd meet him in the hallway, when he would wave to you, he had this real German, which I did not like. This real German. I tell you who reminds me of him. Hogan's Heroes. what is it? Colonel Clink. I can't think of his real name. But you know who I'm talking about, Hogan's Heroes. Is it Colonel Clink? I think it's Colonel Clink. You know, the German there? The guy that's playing that German, I think it's Colonel Clink. Am I right? Forget about the comedy. Now, if you picture him more serious, and if he looked more an American, if he looked more like an American, he reminds me a lot of our principal at Maineville Elementary. He's got that stiff. Now, Clink in Hogan's Heroes walks with his hands behind him. Well, our principal didn't do that. He walked with his hands, to the side. But where he really reminds me is that stiffness. You know, that Clink, Colonel Clink, he has that stiffness walk. Well, our principal was the same way, Jose Cruse. I was never so horrified in school. I would have, some of my classmates agree with me. Our school should have never hired him. Now, he wouldn't threaten me, nothing like that. It just, he had this fear to him that if he would punish you, us kids, he'd want to rip the flesh off the bone. That's the kind of look he had. That's what he really reminded me of. You didn't dare want to get in trouble with our principal, Jose Cruse. Oh, hell no. And I'm going to use the mild language just to emphasize, he horrified me. I've never was punished by him. Luckily. I never was, but boy, I came close once. God almighty. I was in 4th grade, and me and 2 boys, we was in the back of the class, we was passing notes. This is probably been, about 1974, 1975. Let that bug get out of my face. 1974, 75. I was in 4th grade. Me and 2 boys, I don't know why we was passing notes. I guess we was bored with the teacher. I don't know. We was passing notes, and the teacher caught us and told us to go out in the hall for our punishment. And I can still hear her say this to us. Her next statement would simply scare the hell out of me. Now, it's been, 48 years ago? Been 48? Am I doing my math? My years? My dates right? Been about 48 years ago, and I still get goosebumps on my arms like I got now. If that gives you any idea how horrified her next statement would be. Here's what she told us as we was going out the door. She said, and I quote, "If the principal, Mr. Cruse, catches you, he can punish you the way he wants." Oh, God. Damn. We go out in the hall and stand there. That was our punishment. Well, there were some steps to our right going up the 2nd floor. So that kind of blocked. The principal's office was that way. If he was coming from that direction, he wouldn't see us. He'd have to get really on top of us to see us. Well, one of the boys that got in trouble with me, 2 of them with me, was real hyper. He was kind of, goofing off and dancing, if he half danced. And we told him, you need to settle down, you're going to get us, and we told him this, you need to settle down, you're going to get us in trouble. Little did we know that would save us. What happened was, he was goofing off, and he just happened to step a little too far into the hallway, just enough where he seen the principal coming. He comes back to us. His eyes are as big as silver dollars. He says, I can still see him. He gets right up to us. He says, not screaming so the principal can hear him, but he says in a real loud whisper, he says, the principal is coming. Well, those two boys, they head up the steps. I said, you're going to get caught. Another teacher's going to catch you. You're going to get caught up there. And, they didn't listen to me. They kept running up steps. Well, I decided to chance something. There was restrooms right across the hall, little to the left. I decided to fake a hall pass. Now, how did I fake? I'm what, 10, 11 years old? Oh, 9, 10, 11 years old. What I do, I make a walk for it, but what I do, I keep my left hand stiff and out of his view as if I'm holding a piece of paper such as a hall pass. And I let my right arm wiggle back and forth like you normally do when you're walking. But I knew he was going to catch me. I knew it. I had to aim for the restroom door. Well, my heart, I'm scared to hell. I'm horrified. I'm just scared to death. My heart is beating out of my chest. I knew he's going to stop me. I knew it. Getting to that door seemed like forever. I grabbed it, finally got to the door, restroom door. I opened it, went in, and I faked like I had to go to the toilet. I went into the toilet stall, closed the door, locked it, and pulled my pants down to fake like I was sitting on the toilet. And I could hear his dress shoes coming on that wax floor. I knew he was going to open the restroom door and come in on me and ask me for my hall pass. I knew he was going to do it. I was so horrified and scared, I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. You know how it is when you get horrified, your skin gets clammy? My legs were clammy. My arms were clammy. I was just scared to death. Anyway, to make a long story short, he went on. He didn't come in. So I waited about 5 minutes and went out, because I didn't want the teacher to catch me, not standing by the door. So I snuck out and looked, and those two boys were already back there. So I went back there with them. And about 15 minutes later, the teacher called us in. I tell you what, he reminded me, our principal, Jose Cruse, he reminded me of maybe the school couldn't find another principal and they hired him, like as if he just got off of a prison guard job. As if he had been a prison guard and the school decided to hire him. That's what he reminded me of. Now, some of the students liked him. On my the group I'm with on Facebook, I'm sure the principal had his pick, who he liked as students and who he did not. It's always like that. And but the other students couldn't stand him. This one of my classmates, she said they should have never hired him, and I agree with him. I agree with her. He wasn't threatening. I want to make that clear. He was not threatening at all. He was just fearful. He always had this pissed off look on his face. He smiled. I've seen him smile many a time. But yet, he had a mixture. Like, if his face could talk, he could rip the flesh off your bone. That's just how he looked. He had this pissed off look all the time. That German style, oh, I couldn't stand that. That German style, as one classmate called it, he had this ramrod walk to him. Yeah, real stiff walk. No, he wasn't sick. No. Just his ways, his German style. I don't know if he was born over there and lost his accent being over here in America for 25, 30 years after World War II. Then he was a principal at our school from 69 to the 70s. He did. I remember his talk. He seemed American, but he could have lost that German, I don't know, accent. But he had this. You didn't dare want to get in trouble by him. Oh, hell no. Your worst nightmare you could imagine. And it was a strong rumor in school he had an electric paddle. Strong rumor. He was just that German. I hated his German style way about him. His walk, when he would, I think I mentioned this, when he would wave to you, his arm would only come up a halfway. When he would wave to you, you meet him in a hall, his wave was a smack of the hand. You know how you normally wave like this? He didn't wave like that. When he waved to you, he'd bring his arm about halfway up, and his hand would smack open and close that quick. It just had German style. I couldn't stand it. It was just not threatening, but fearful all the time. You're just fearful of him all the time. You know, getting in trouble with a teacher was bad enough if you did, but you was always thinking the worst case scenario. If she sent you to the principal's office, he was all over, your life was over. He would just tear the flesh off your hide, or he had that look about him. I mean, damn, you couldn't relax in school. You really couldn't. I was always afraid of being sent, maybe doing nothing, being sent to the principal's office. Oh, I damn dreaded that. I always had that fear of, getting in trouble, not doing nothing. Teacher falsely accusing. Oh, the teacher falsely accusing you, which has happened to one of my classmates. She got paddled over that. Not by him, though, by a teacher. But just the thoughts of being sent to his principal's, to his office, just horrified me. It horrified some other classmates. He was a nice guy in a sense, and it's a mix. He was kind of a nice guy, but yet he had his facial look, just a pissed off look all the time. He'd smile. He was one other classmate put it best, he was a no nonsense, no bullshit principal. And you did not want to get in trouble by him at all. Period.